What's up, guys? Chad here with the Reptile Rangers. Now, we're at the Kernersville Reptile Zoo and Medical Center again today. And as you see, we're doing something a little bit different. All right, so I had somebody write in and ask about safe plants for aquatic turtles, water turtles, okay? There's some that I know about, and then there were some I absolutely did not know about. So I had to do my own research into some of the aquatic plants. Dealing with water animals, and being that we don't deal with fish all that often, and a lot of your aquatic turtles, it just becomes a little bit more difficult to do live plants with aquatic turtles unless it's a really big habitat, because it's just going to have plants eat up, and you're going to have your soil and stuff, your soil inside the water is just going to be absolutely everywhere. So generally speaking, most people just go with the fake stuff that you can get in the aquatic sections inside the pet store, the fake plant life. Now, before we get into that, right down here in this corner is our subscriber button. Make sure to hit that. We appreciate you doing so. For all those that have, we appreciate you following along week after week after week. All right, now as you've been seeing along in this background here with these turtles swimming around, there was somebody, and a lot of people do really want to try using live plant life, and that's okay. We have done it before, and there's nothing wrong with using live plants. There is some preparation, some that will float right on the top that you're going to see here in a few minutes, and then some that do have to actually be planted on the bottom. Usually those are safe. All right, the ones we're going to talk about are safe for turtles, but in a small habitat tend not to last very long or get uprooted very quickly. Because when you have water turtles, they're going to dig around in soil and substrate and things like that that's in the bottom. So a lot of times they can uproot the plants. They can eat. A lot of times they'll even eat the plants because they will eat pondweed and things like that. So again, this is also why we're talking about plants that are safe for aquatic turtles, because aquatic turtles do eat plant life. They eat bugs, they'll eat fish, they will eat other turtles, they'll eat worms, they'll eat all different kinds of things, but they will eat plants on the bottom of the pond. So whether you're trying to do a hydroponic habitat or whether you're trying to do a bioactive habitat, something that either has soil or doesn't have soil, one of the two, however that so goes, and you so choose to do that, we want to make sure that the plant life is safe for our turtles. Now, I'm going to run down a list of several of the plants for aquatic turtles and for aquatic life. You have everything from like water lettuce to water hyacinths to red lugia, Moneyworts, dwarf hairgrass, Java fern, Java moss, and also hornworts. Okay, the water hyacinths. Okay, I've used those many times. Those things are awesome. As you see, the plant is right behind me here on the big part of the screen. The water hyacinths are really cool. They're not too terribly expensive. They have these air bubble, air pocket that help keep them afloat, so they don't actually go into any kind of soil. They stay right on the top. They absorb oxygen into those air pockets, which also allow them to get both sunlight and air equally and very easily, whether from the water or also from outside nature. These are a resilient plant. However, one of the things that we did notice when we used them is they would suck the oxygen out of the water fairly quickly. So if you're not keeping the water oxygenated and there's not a ready supply of fresh, cool water or a bubbler or something that keeps the water oxygenated, then if you have fish in there especially, then that can cause the fish less oxygen, which can obviously kill the fish. Now, it's not going to hurt the turtles because turtles are not going to breathe. They're not going to breathe, at least during the summertime. They don't do that. Now, we did talk about butt breathing in the whole previous video where we talk about how do reptiles survive wintertime. And we talked a little bit about that, where they do absorb a little bit of the oxygen through vessels, primarily in the rear part of their body around the butt area, that allows them to just pull oxygen in through those vessels. Doesn't allow them to breathe. It's not breathing underwater. It's not like a fish, though. And this is a very limited supply of oxygen that they're able to get their hands on, or basically to get into their body. So it's a little bit different than like this plant. This plant right here is really cool. It is a cool one, similar to what a lot of people would keep on top of the water for frogs and things like that. Works great for frogs. If you have frogs inside of this habitat, then it acts similar to a lily pad, and it floats on the top, and they can also be able to climb around on it and jump from plant to plant. Now, another one is water lettuce, and of course, those kind of speak for themselves. Those are pretty popular. Again, it's another one that floats on the top. The roots grow down into the water, so the water lettuce has absolutely no problem with oxygen or light when it comes to exposure to light or sunlight. Obviously, it's floating right there on the top, does a great job, and is able to just soak up all that it does, all that it needs directly from outside sources. Now, with the roots growing down in, of course, those roots, they're going to soak up nutrition, whatever nutrition may be in the water. Of course, we know that plants, a lot of fecal matter can become fertilizer for roots, and of course these roots will grab onto little nutritional particles which allow them to be able to survive. But those roots will go down, and the roots do get quite long when it comes to things like the water lettuce. Now, the next one is the red lugia, which is a hardy little plant. It's a really cool plant. This one does get planted in the bottom, and it grows and goes tall. And for that reason, it doesn't really have a whole lot of lighting requirements and nutritional requirements, because it'll get a lot of its nutrition just simply from things going on inside of the water. Now, another really cool one is called the Moneywort. Now, this one is really cool. It's got a really cool appeal to it, and it works really well inside of especially turtle habitats, because yes, the turtles do tend to enjoy eating these style of plant, the Moneywort, but also it grows very, very quickly. It does get planted. It is a planted on the inside, so again, not a heck of a lot of light requirements when it comes to that. I mean, just standard light will go through. It grows very, very quickly, and of course the turtles tend to like to pick at this one. Has that bright green appeal a lot of the times, and so again, that allows the turtles, or causes the turtles to have that interest. But thankfully, considering they do have an interest in eating this particular type of plant, it does grow very quickly. So it can tend to replenish itself as long as you don't have too many turtles in there just overtaking them. All right, so the dwarf hair grass is another one that is really safe for turtles, and it's kind of like regular grass, other than obviously regular grass in your lawn doesn't need a crap load of water. It will not grow; it can drown. And whereas this grass can grow in the water. Of course, it doesn't require a whole lot of lighting or oxygen to grow. It does need some, but it doesn't require a grand amount for it to grow. And this stuff gets really, really thick on the bottom. It can get really thick. Makes a great one for small turtles to be able to hide, especially for fish. Fish be able to hide in it. They do their breeding and nesting and stuff. It makes a great plant for all kinds of different things like that. And so with that being said, yes, turtles will eat some of this. It tends to seem that they don't eat it as much as like they would the Moneywort. But with that being said, of course, the dwarf grass, readily available, grows thick, plentiful, stays across the bottom, and makes a great plant especially for the bottom, for like a bottom dwelling plant, but also something for the smaller turtles to be able to hide in or eat if they want to, and it's safe for them. Now, the next one is the Java fern. Java ferns are really cool in the fact that they do look similar to ferns that you would see just outside in the wild. Of course, they're planted in the bottom. They don't, like a lot of the other ones, don't require a whole lot of oxygen level, a whole lot of light to grow, but they do go from small to higher. So they will grow. It's thicker, a little bit thicker leaves, but they do get taller in the sense of, and they'll kind of wave back and forth if there's motion of the water. And these are also safe for aquatic turtles to be able to eat, but they get thick and tall. Now, another unique one is called the Java moss. All right, now the Java moss will actually not only grow in soil, but it can attach and kind of grow on rocks and grow on driftwood, things like that. So it's one of those really cool, universal, unique plants that does get thick and bushy like a moss does. However, at the same time, it can grow about anywhere, and it's also equally safe for turtles to be able to eat, but also gives them a little something to be able to hide in as well. All right, so the hornwort is the last one. It's not one that I actually have a lot of familiarity with of any form. Now, I mean, one of the things that we will say is it does like a little bit lighter conditions when it comes to light. They like a little bit more light, but it's a really resilient plant when it comes to different water conditions. Not too hot or not too cold. So as long as there's different lighting when it comes to your turtle habitat to begin with, then this guy's not going to be that big of a problem. because you're going to have your basking light, probably going to have your UVB light, or you should anyway. So the light right over the top of the basking area, that's going to, in theory, with light coming in from the outside source, from window or whatever the case may be, is going to be more than enough lighting to accommodate for this particular one. It's a really cool looking plant. All right, now hopefully this has been somewhat helpful and enjoyable. Like I said, again, this is not one of my areas of full expertise, but trying to make sure that we get some information out here that does actually help, because we have a lot of people that have aquatic turtles, and so of course some people do want to do live plants, and the question has been asked. Of course, somebody sent the comment in wanting to know about live safe plants for their aquatic turtles, and so we want to make sure to be as absolutely helpful as possible, even if it's kind of outside of our scope. So then we have to do more research, and we have to study and make sure that we're giving the right information. This is safe plant life for aquatic water turtle habitats. And again, make sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button. Make sure to follow along with us. Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to let us know of other things you want us to film about. Again, this is Chad here at the Kernersville Reptile Zoo and Medical Center. We are the Reptile Rangers. We appreciate you coming along with us. We'll either see you here at the zoo or we'll see you on the next episode. Later.